Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Question. Being righteous is living according to dharma. How does one not become self-righteous while living righteously? My being self-righteous has definitely affected my near and dear relationships. Correct? True? One should not be self-righteous. One should be righteous to universal rights and wrong. Not one should be righteous to one's own likes and dislikes. If you are righteous to your own likes and dislikes, then definitely the relationships will be definitely will be harmed, will be affected. If you conform to what is universally right and wrong, being universally right and wrong, it is present in everyone to whom you are related also, and everyone has a value for it also. And therefore, if you conform to the universal right and wrong, while others would like it, that's called the harmony in relationship. Yeah, everyone has a value for the truth, and you speak truth in keeping with this universal right and wrong. You basically love the truth. You want others to speak truth to you. If you speak untruth you don't like about yourself, and therefore if you conform, and what I said is equally true for the other person to whom you are related, and therefore it is so simple. If you conform to universal right and wrong, which is called dharma, then definitely you will be loved by others. Where is a question of harming relationship? You will be loved by others. Unfortunately, when others love you, you love yourself. That's a very, very unfortunate situation. But even if it is so, you will definitely love yourself also. Once you start loving yourself, you become a qualified person for Vedanta. Yeah. The basic issue is self non-acceptance. One doesn't accept oneself. That's called sorrow. One doesn't have a total satisfaction with oneself. The self which you know, which is of course a notion born of self-ignorance, that self you will not love, whatever you do. And therefore, ultimately conforming to the universal right and wrong, which others also like it, well, then definitely there is a great welcome in your group. Yeah, people will just love you. Become a center of love without doing anything, just conforming to the universal right and wrong. Don't go by self-righteousness. That is nothing but conforming to one's own fancies, likes and dislikes. That which you think that, well, that is right. This is what I feel that this is right. It is in fact, this is what you like. Yeah. It's not what is right. It is what you like. That's the thing. Yeah. Simple formulas are there. To have a harmony in relationship, this is a formula. Freedom in relationship has this basis, nothing else. There should not be self-righteousness. There should be righteousness which is universal. Being universal, it is a manifestation of Ishvara. That's it. What is universal cannot be the manifestation of one's own fancies. That is being universal, which is present in everyone's head. from the birth onwards, it's a manifestation of Ishvara. Conforming to Ishvara is there is a joy all the way. Yeah, you may have to sacrifice a lot in terms of material gains, perhaps. Need not be so all the time. But perhaps you may have to sacrifice. But you are ready for it because you have a value for some spiritual goal. And in that case, while all material goals called dharma, artha, kama together itself cannot give what moksha can give you. And therefore, while you have a value for this, you have value for dharma, because that only makes you that only opens the door for moksha. Yeah, that's the thing. If dharma is not is a priority, arthakama becomes priority. Only material gains becomes priority. If dharma comes, well, definitely it opens the gates for spiritual goal called moksha. Yeah. Question. Swamiji, one can make Shraddha stronger towards their deity by reading his her glory and stories, or by Namajapa, which helps in doing prayers with meaning. Is any other way to make Shraddha stronger? How does parent encourage their kids to do Namajapa where they have no feelings towards any deity, but they like and understand Ishvara concept? You see, making Shraddha stronger in a deity, in a Shastra, deity means here let's take Ishvara only, because any deity is a manifestation of Ishvara. It's an aspect, from a given aspect when you look Ishvara, which is total, but when you look that Ishvara which is total from a given aspect, we call a deity. That's how a sun deity and the earth deity and the fire deity and everything. Anyway, so this is, see, basically to, reading what is said there. One can make Shraddha stronger towards the deity by reading his or glory and stories, or by Namajapa. Namajapa will not make Shraddha stronger. No. Which helps in doing prayers with the meaning. Well, yes. If you understand the role of a deity, it means Ishvara in your life, that is the glory. Ishvara is basically woven in your life totally. Ishvara alone is woven. The body is Ishvara, the mind is Ishvara, the very perception is Ishvara, the memory is Ishvara, the mechanism of collecting the memory is Ishvara, all emotions are Ishvara, our pranas are Ishvara, the senses are Ishvara, the world also is Ishvara. What is that which is not Ishvara? That's how Pujya Swamiji's definition is. What is Ishvara. So therefore Ishvara is totally woven in your life. Totally woven. Means it sustains the life, basically. And therefore, that's a big glory. So once you understand the glory like this, definitely you will have a Shraddha stronger. Namajapa, which is a product of this Shraddha. Because of the Shraddha, you see his glory, you see his participation in your life. And it's not a 50-50 participation, it is a total participation. He is in the form of a food, he is in the form of a bhokta, he is in the form of the very experience of experience of enjoying the food. Everything is Ishvara. And therefore, more you know about Ishvara, more you know understand the Ishvara means more you understand the glory of Ishvara. And then definitely, you will have a Shraddha, and if it is Shraddha is already there, and because of that you are doing it, you are understanding Ishvara, then definitely your Shraddha becomes stronger also. But I would like to say few more things in Shraddha. First thing is, Suppose the person who doesn't have a Shraddha at all, in that case, he can discover the Shraddha by, see, first thing is, why, if Shraddha is not there, what will be there? Let us think that way. If Shraddha is not there, what will be there? Doubts will be there. If I talk about Ishvara and if you don't have a Shraddha, you will have a doubt what I say about Ishvara. So you have a doubts, number of doubts, whether Ishvara is there or not first, and then Ishvara is a Jagat Karanam or not. If it is a Jagat Karanam, he is just a creator or he is in the form of a creation, etc. All this. And then there are doubts pertaining to the Shastras also. Doubts pertaining to the goal, moksha, etc. Doubts pertaining to Punya Papa. Doubts pertaining to Swarga, etc. All these lokas which Shastra talks about. I mean, you have a varieties of doubts. Now, if you resolve the doubts, you develop Shraddha. If you cannot resolve the doubt, you will not have a Shraddha. How to resolve the doubt? Well, all these doubts, to resolve those doubts, you have to employ the means of knowledge. The Shraddha itself is, the definition of Shraddha is an acknowledgement of the pramana, acknowledgement of the means of knowledge. Means, this Veda, etc., the Shastra, is a means of knowledge. If you have that attitude, that's called Shraddha. Acknowledging the validity of the means of knowledge is called Shraddha. You acknowledge, yes, like my eyes, my ears, they are the means of knowledge, and I accept it, they are the means of knowledge, and that is how I have a Shraddha. Whatever they say, whatever they provide the data to me, in terms of colors and forms, in terms of words, etc., I accept it. I never doubt. So means that my doubts pertaining to this means of knowledge has resolved. Why? Because I look upon them as a means of knowledge. Doubts pertaining to eyes, ears, etc. have resolved because they are providing, I am looking upon them as a means of knowledge. Means whatever the data they give to me, well, I accept it. Similarly, so regarding this you have a Shraddha, there is no doubt about it. Regarding material goals also you have a Shraddha. Otherwise one cannot achieve anything in life. That's what Bhagavan said in the 4th chapter. Ashraddha dhanaha, etc. I have forgotten that verse. Bhagavan said one who doesn't have a Shraddha even in the material things, he will not be able to sustain his life. You have a Shraddha, that's how you morning you wake up, get ready after breakfast and go out. You know how to earn money, you have some Shraddha, that these are the means to earn money and so you are behind it. And this money etc. comes in my life and they will give me some sukha, some worldly pleasure, whatever it is. Let us not condemn them. Whatever the worldly pleasure is there, that is given by the money. Do you have a doubt about that? No, you don't have a doubt. So regarding the material goals etc., what are the means, what end they will give, you don't have any doubt at all. That's called Shraddha. Right? But when it comes to here, and when I say, well, attending this satsang will give you punyam, and then you start laughing, suppose. You start laughing. What's this? What this Swami is making me fool or what? Means you have a doubt. You have a doubt. So regarding Punya Papa, you have a doubt, which Shastra talks about. Regarding Lokas, you have a doubt. Regarding the Atma being Brahman, my God, how can I accept it? First thing is whether Shastra is required or not for moksha or all this. Why to study all this? There is no need. It's all ultimately all intellectual exercise, they say. Doubt. Then there are several doubts like that. And even if Shastra gives a knowledge of Atma, but is it true that Atma is really limitless, timeless, etc.? I don't think so. I don't feel that I am like that. I am limitless, etc. I don't feel. All doubts. Means the Shastra which gives you the data regarding all this, you don't look upon Shastra as a means of knowledge. If you have looked upon those as a means of knowledge, you would have accepted it immediately. And you would have understood in the course of time. So please understand this. So Shraddha means basically looking upon the means of knowledge, Shastra as a means of knowledge. If it is not there, what should be done? Means these doubts will not be resolved, which I have told you, will not be resolved. Okay. Then how to discover the Shraddha, how to develop a Shraddha? One thing is very clear, even in the case of other means of knowledge, which has been given to you. What is clear? That if you want to see the validity of the eyes, whether they give you the knowledge of colors and forms, what would you do? What would you do? You open your eyes. You open your eyes, and if they are able to see colors and forms, you will say, well, this is a means of knowledge to give me the knowledge of colors and forms. Means, in order for a means of knowledge to prove as a means of knowledge, you have to employ that means of knowledge. That's it. There is no way out. Even an eye surgeon, after doing your surgery from making you for making you see from the blindness, he has to ultimately ask you only. He says, I have operated. Now you open your eyes. We have done successful surgery. You open your eyes. If the person says, I will not open your eyes, oh doctor, you prove to me that my eyes will be able to see. If you don't, if I open the eyes and if I am not able to see, then basically I will have a heart attack. Therefore, first you prove me, oh doctor. Doctor says, well, he will call the nurse. And he ties these hands of this fellow on the cot with the rope, with the rope, etc. And open his eyelids. Could you follow? You have to employ the means of knowledge to prove the validity of the means of knowledge. There is no way out. Therefore, in order to develop a Shraddha for all these things, you never ask a Muktatma about a Shraddha in a material means and in end. You know very well. Nobody comes here for that. You may not have a Shraddha for Ishvara. You may not have a Shraddha for the teacher. You may not have a Shraddha for the Shastra. Right? And therefore, but here also, to prove the Shastra as a means of knowledge, you have to employ it. You have to expose yourself to the teaching. Yeah, with a benefit of doubt. Don't accept. Just allow it to operate. You employ that means of knowledge. And just you expose yourself to the teaching and keep check that all the list of those questions which you have, those questions, keep a check on that. Every week refer to those questions. How many of them are resolved? Perhaps initially you may feel that none of the question is resolved. No problem. Keep exposing yourself. And you will find, one day I am telling you, you will find that all your questions have resolved. That day will not be far. Okay? This is the thing. And then you have an attitude to the Shastra, a particular attitude that is called Shraddha. That's called Shraddha. Now you are seeing the validity of Shastra. You are seeing the validity of the means of knowledge. Now whatever Shastra says, you accept. You accept it with a pending discovery. Perhaps you may not be able to understand immediately. And we don't have that kind of no teacher tells you that whether you understand it or not, just gulp it. No. That's how we have a dialogues. Everywhere we have a dialogues. Question and answers. It could be Bhagavad Gita or it could be Upanishad. Means the student is given freedom to ask questions, to resolve the doubts. In fact, Vedanta has a certain Siddhi Granthas. Siddhi Granthas which are very terse. But there the questions are such, I am telling you, there the questions are such which you and me even can't imagine. Such a, to the extent of we feel now Vedanta is gone. Like that. Such questions are there. All questions are asked there and resolved also. That's all Siddhi Grantha. Like Advaita Siddhi and Nishkarma Siddhi and like that. Brahma Siddhi. Generally Siddhi Granthas are for Praudas. Prauda. For elderly, Vedantic elderly people. We don't want. But I am telling you, there it is all question answers. More and more questions. In fact, your questions become finer and finer. More you study, the questions will come. And questions have to be resolved. Either you go to the teacher and catch hold of him and said you are not allowed to get up. First answer this question. I am telling you they will resolve it. They will resolve it. So your Shraddha grows. Shraddha. And that's how Bhagavan made his statement, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Then there is another thing which I would really like to clarify here. Is tatparaha, Bhagavan has said. Bhagavan has used this word. Tatparaha means a commitment. See, one thing is there. We may feel if Shraddha is there, the commitment will come. Need not be. Need not be. Your commitment to moksha may be there, but still you may not have a Shraddha in the Shastra. You will find ample number of people in this world who are really seekers of moksha. They really are committed to moksha, but they don't have a Shraddha. They don't look upon Shastra as a means of knowledge. No. That's how they have varieties of practices. Whatever in their tradition it has been told. So where commitment is there, Shraddha is there, need not be. Where Shraddha is, commitment is, need not be. Need not be. But yes, that's how Bhagavan said, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Very first condition is one should have a Shraddha in the Shastra as a means of knowledge. Like you have a Shraddha in your means of knowledge called eyes, ears, etc. Well, same way here also you may have, even if you have doubts, but still you expose, you thinking that, the Shastra will definitely resolve my doubts, and it keeps resolving you. You have initially 50 questions, it has turned down now to 30. So like that it will be, and more questions will come. Definitely, more you study, more questions will come, which is called part of Mananam also, and that will resolve. And your Shraddha grows and grows. And as the Shraddha grows, your commitment also then grows. And so commitment a commitment also is an essential thing along with the Shraddha. Shraddha is there, commitment will be there, need not be, as I told you. So definitely, another thing which is required for gaining jnana is tatparata, etc., commitment, etc. And then sanyatendriya, you basically should be free from certain fancies. Sanyatendriya means a total control of senses, rather than you are basically free from the fancies. You don't come under the hold of fancies which are arising in your mind. As the fancy arise, you employ your means of knowledge, sense organs, etc., into sense objects. You don't do that. So Bhagavan said, Sanyate Indriya. So etc. Anyway, so this is regarding Shraddha. And well, and then pertaining to the question I will come now. Therefore, then for preparedness to gain moksha, etc., also now Shastra says, well, this is a requirement for gaining preparedness for this moksha. So those things also you employ. And along with the Shraddha in Ishvara also will be there, because the means of knowledge, the Veda only talks about, establishes the Ishvara as the very Jagat Karanam, Tasmadva etasmad Atmanaha Akasha Sambhuta Akashat Vayuhu. For that Brahman is the Jagat Karanam, etc. So basically you have a Ishvara Shraddha also, and all these questions, maker, material, all this will resolve. And then whatever Shastra says in terms of observing certain values, ethical values, doing certain, worshipping Ishvara through various means, karma yoga, etc., well, you will employ all these things. And your Shraddha becomes more and more intense. Your Shraddha grows stronger. The person has used the word stronger. So one can make Shraddha stronger towards the deity by reading his or glory stories by Namajapa. Well, that is there, but I have given you how from the scratch itself one can develop a Shraddha slowly. One can discover Shraddha, that's better word. One can discover Shraddha in course of time. Yes. Is it possible to create Vedic teachings differently to attract but there is another question in that. The first is, how does parent encourage their kids to do Nama Japa where they have no feelings towards any deity but they like and understand Ishvara concept? I am answering here that question. What is the question? Next question is it possible to create Vedic teachings differently to attract more to the young generation, or create more practical activities on different Vedic literature by examples or topics or stories which helps them to understand in current value standards? I would answer in my way. Perhaps it could satisfy your question. Now the whole Vedic teaching which we are exposed to, that could be reframed for these young adults. For so very little children, well, only thing is, if you want to inculcate anything which is called religious, this one, you have to follow. You cannot tell the children to do and you remain without doing. That will never work. Saying one thing and doing another will not work if the children are around. Small children. You have to do. If you want your child to do a Nama Japa, etc., first you have to sit. When the children are around, you do that. You do that. Day, morning, evening, whenever, they are there, especially when they are there, you do it. And after doing for a length of time, you tell the benefit of doing it. They may perhaps ask you also, Daddy, what are you doing? And then you say that I am doing this. You may not open whole thing. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And then answer. That this gives me a focusing capacity, this, that, lot of concentration, and because of that efficiency in the work increases, all this. And then, well, with the help of some teacher, guru, etc., mantra diksha, etc., and then the student is initiated into this. Or it may be even after a sacred thread ceremony, etc., automatically the mantra diksha is given and then he is initiated into Gayatri, etc. So, very small children, then definitely you have to become a role model for them. Most of the parents, what they do is they keep saying, but I'll chant Hanuman Chalisa. What he is doing, he will never chant. He will never. Parent, perhaps father doesn't chant at all and tell the child to do it. This will not work. It will not work at all. For young adults, the whole teaching which we are exposed to, should be reframed like this. I'm telling you how to do it. First thing is, you have to teach them, well, how to achieve any success. because they are interested in success naturally. And why should not they be? Material success or spiritual success, you need not. But how to achieve a success? In that there are 4-5 factors. And well, you may first, most important thing is, well, we have to put very proper effort. And we should allow the time in order to fructify that effort. But then you can tell the children, you can tell those young adults, because they are thinkers. You can tell that even if a person puts lot of effort, proper effort, yet the success doesn't come. And therefore, there is one factor which one has to take into account. And that is called luck, that is called Daivam, that is called grace, Ishvara's grace. And that is how you introduce a Ishvara there. First thing. This is a way I am giving you stages, how to reframe this. First thing, one has to do this. That to achieve a success, well, our effort of course is required, but equally important thing is a grace. Because any result comes with a number of factors, not just what I do as an effort, that is one of the factor, but it doesn't shape the result. To shape the result, there are a number of factors in the world which will shape my result of the action. And those factors should be favorable. So you have to talk logically to them. And in order to make them favorable, well, there should be a prayer. There is a Ishvara. One has to pray after putting an effort in order to achieve a proper result, success. And once you introduce like that, then start talking about Ishvara in the second stage. That this creation is, first you say that this is a very intelligent creation, and you can show intelligence here in the body itself, which the child can even this young adult can easily understand, that how the things are put together and functioning in a very harmonious manner, in a very intelligent manner to serve the purpose. And therefore there must be some intelligence behind it, and intelligence remain in a conscious being. And therefore, in order for this whole creation, well, which is nothing but the things which are put together in intelligent manner, the whole creation functions with a purpose. Therefore, there must be a conscious being who is all-knowing. Like that you should say. So this is how you introduce Ishvara. And then also introduce that, well, the creator and creation cannot be different. If they are different, the creator has to depend upon the material. Then Ishvara has to depend upon the material. Then Ishvara, if it is a dependent, how he is a Ishvara? Therefore, and if they are separate, well, they should be separate, creation, the material and the creator, if they are separate. Like in the case of a pot maker and a clay, they are separate in a space. Same way, if it is a separate here, well, it should be separate in a space. Then the space should be there before creation. But then, well, oh my dear son, or my dear girl, daughter, well, because the space is a part of creation. Space, time, everything is a part of creation. The science also tells it. And therefore, well, space cannot be there. In that case, creation and creator cannot be separate. Wherefore, well, he is the maker, he is the material. This is the way you have to talk. This is the way you have to talk. You have to talk logically to young adults. Otherwise, they will throw you out immediately. So, start from the success. What is required? What are the factors required for the success? Introduce Ishvara, and then further, who is that Ishvara? You introduce as a creator and the creation. And then, well, definitely he is in the form of creation. And therefore, all the names and forms are his forms only. And therefore, well, in our Shastra, there are specific names and forms given for worship. And those names and forms, well, we call them idols. And therefore we have idol worship, because that's a question here in this world, in this country. There's a big question. So idol worship. So you introduce that. You can introduce even from the standpoint of a creation. Well, it's she from the standpoint of creator, he, and therefore we have, O bete, we have Vishnu and Lakshmi, we have Brahma and Saraswati, we have Rudra and Shiva and Shakti. So, well, all our gods are married, beta. Yeah, you should say like that. Beta, beti, whatever it may be. So, you have to say like this. Slowly you introduce. It may take, this may be a third class or fourth class, okay? First class means to achieve success. Well, how many factors are there? You have to give number of examples. You can bring stories, but this is, for that you don't need his story from the history or Mahabharata. Our own stories are enough. Then the fourth thing is a moral. If everything is Ishvara, well, you can say that there is a moral infrastructure in every human being. Yeah. And that is not created. I mean, that is a manifestation of Ishvara only. And therefore, basically, in form of order, dharma, etc., you introduce that. That's the first thing you have to tell. In order to make a better human being, you have to talk about moral infrastructure. Then, fifth thing is, well, now slowly, and you should say that these all things I am telling you on the basis of Vedas. All the time, whenever you talk, you say, information of my source is Vedas. Right? You should say that. But since you are talking logically, he may develop a little respect for the Shastra. He may not have Shraddha totally, but he may develop a little respect for the Shastra, because you are talking quite logically. And then in the fifth step, well, you can tell how the Vedas talk about even psychology. Vedas talk about even religion, and Vedas talk about philosophy. So once you introduce dharma, then you talk about religious life, religious activity, which is based on dharma, based on common sense ethics. That's called religious life. And then there is a philosophy also, you should say, that Hinduism is not just religion. Hinduism is a philosophy. Philosophy means there is a way of life. Like that you have to introduce. And then, well, immediately now start talking about mind. You have to start talking about mind. What is mind, and how the ways of, the mind, how there are ways of working of the mind. All this you should talk. So, the difference between the cognition, emotion, etc., and bringing about the harmony between both. Means cognition means, well, you have a certain wisdom in your head, but one who relates to other people is an emotional being, and then there is no concurrence between them. That's how you say, Swami, you talk a lot, but we don't see anything in your life when you relate to us, like that. So therefore, there should be a concurrence between the intellect and the emotion, mind. The children need it. These young adults need it. Because they have so many resolves. But those resolves, they are not able to cope up. Yeah. And then, well, you can tell, once you go this far, then you can tell that, well, you should keep a journal to discover certain vulnerable areas. First you talk about the ways of mind, etc., and then you talk about this, that you can keep a journal. You should give freedom. At every stage, give freedom. Just because you have given a lecture to him or her, does not think the very next day they will be totally a Vaidika. Don't keep that kind of a idea. That is not going to happen, I am telling you. But since you have asked this question, how to reframe, how to make more practical, well, all these things we are learning already. Bhagavad Gita, ways of mind and everything, Raga, Dvesha and all that. But for the children, for young adults, this, because they are on the threshold of the adulthood. Please understand, 13 to 19 almost is a age which is a threshold for the adulthood, and they have a tremendous power, lots of energy, and they are very rational, very intelligent people, and all this they will be able to follow. All this, whether they follow in their life or not, that's a different thing. I'm saying follow means they will be able to understand. So, and then, well, you should say mind is an instrument, and well, definitely what you need, well, you have to study a lot, and you need a concentration of the mind, etc. Well, if this concentration of mind is not there due to lack of interest, and how to develop the interest, how to develop memory, all these things, they will immediately relate. And then, while understanding the mind in terms of action and reaction, naturally our anger, etc., all reactions, what we do on a will based is an action, and what's the advantage of the action, what's the disadvantage of the reactions, and etc. So, and importance of being conscious of what one does, and well, if you don't take care of the mind, what will happen? All these reactions happen, and ultimately that will bring a sorrow in life, etc. You can explain all that, and then you can talk about how you can be with what you do. Those things you can talk, and then also later, you should also say, I am as good as, well, I think of myself. After talking all these things, you should continuously say, if you develop like this, your image about yourself will definitely change, and you are as good as you think of yourself. So all these things ultimately help you for a self-image, and that self-image, well, definitely a better self-image, where there is a dignity about oneself, etc., helps in the career, etc. And so, like that. And lastly, you talk about certain emotional maturity, and what is the goal of life. Freedom is a goal of life, well, etc. Talk in a rational manner. That freedom everyone wants. It's an innate, it's an innate desire, natural desire for the human being, and one can discover this freedom with the help of knowledge, is a part of the philosophy of the same Veda, etc. Like that, you can reframe the whole thing. Okay, this is just for your knowledge. Okay, now in the triad of knower, known and knowledge, the knowledge part is the process of knowing using mind and sense organs. In some books, it is mentioned that perceiving is real. How does this perceiving differ from the mind based knowing process? Seeing, hearing, sensing, the knowledge part of the triad. So, how does this perceiving differ from the mind based? Yeah. Okay, just a minute. Am I correct to understand that the real perceiving is same as witnessing? Correct. You have understood perfectly. Without the mind mediation, and not the one described in a triad version. Correct. No, your understanding is totally correct. A perceiving is real means witnessing is real. Correct. And so that is different from this triad. That's what we are discussing in the 10th chapter right now. And that is witness. Witnessing also, I have told you, witnessing is also not an action. It's not a deliberate activity. It's not a will-based activity on the part of consciousness. To have a will on the part of consciousness, it should have a mind. If consciousness has a mind, a real mind, it's just a individual conscious being. So mind, etc. Well, the relationship between mind and consciousness is a relationship of a karya-karana, relationship of a satya-mithya relationship, and the whole mind basically is non-separate from the consciousness. But the mind being what it is, ultimately consciousness definitely gets reflected in the mind. Means the whole mind becomes conscious. The whole conscious mind, which is called the Ahankara, So if you don't know I am a consciousness, definitely you take yourself to be a conscious mind, as a Pramata, the knower. And well, of course, with the help of sense organs, well, you take yourself to be a perceiver, etc., seer, hearer, etc. With organs of action, etc., you take yourself to be doer, experiencer, all these things will come. So basically a knower, and then the doer, experiencer, etc. So this is the thing. Your understanding is correct. Yeah. Perceiving is real means witnessing is. It's a consciousness alone. Well, because of a self-revealing, it is already revealed in what? In every thought. In every, being self-revealing, it is all revealed. The object is revealed by the thought, but the very thought along with the object, or thought in the form of an object, is revealed by consciousness, and it reveals in the thought as the very consciousness. That's how it becomes jnana. Very thought, a particular thought, like a part thought, plus consciousness is part knowledge. So that's how it is. So it reveals automatically. You have not to reveal. That's how you don't need a specific thought for revealing consciousness. You need a specific thought for the inert world, for anatma. You don't need a specific thought for self-revealing consciousness. Anything which is self-revealing doesn't require a thought to reveal. Please understand this very well, and therefore never try to objectify the consciousness. That's okay? Now, any question?
Anybody else has any questions? I mean, these are the questions. They were posted in our documents.
Yeah, I think that was the last question, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody?
Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste. Huh.
I have one question on Gajamoksha. That Gajamoksha story, I'm not that clearly aware. I know that he prayed desperately. It's kind of example of that bhakta.
Artha Bhakta.
Artha Bhakta.
Yes.
So, but my question is, that crocodile, the crocodile was, so crocodile was eating him as his food, right?
Huh.
So why would Lord kill crocodile? Is there any reason behind it, or because sometimes when I tell this story, kids ask this question that's not fair to the crocodile. So I'm not aware of that story, the fully story. Gajamoksha, I understand that story, but if you can just put some lights on.
Yeah. Yeah, crocodile, it's a crocodile food, need not be human being, right? At least. Need not be human being. Crocodile can eat anything, that's fine. But crocodile food need not be human being. If crocodile's food is a human being and Bhagavan kills a crocodile, means definitely that's against the order. And here this human being, the particular, this our Bhakta, Gajendra, so definitely he is in distress, right, because of this. So in order to save, well, he killed crocodile. That's it. There is nothing more than that. I can throw a light on that. There could be some other spiritual insight into that, but I am not aware of it. But this is what I think. That if crocodile has only food, it survives only on the human being's flesh, then definitely Bhagavan is doing wrong. But crocodile can survive on other animals also. And whereas this particular human being was in distress, he was a bhakta also, and in distress he called Ishvara, Bhagavan, and so Bhagavan has to help him. And therefore...
So was it that elephant or a human being?
Elephant, Gajendra, I'm sorry. Gajendra. That's true, but it need not be Gajendra he has to eat. Any child, that's not a human being, but Gajendra. I mean elephant, I'm sorry. So, if he need not eat, crocodile need not eat only, its only food, suppose an elephant flesh, then definitely it's wrong. Okay? That we should say.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Dhanyavad. Thank you.
You are right. It's a Gajendra. It's an elephant. Okay.
No, thank you, Swamiji. Today you mentioned about these kids and all this, how to,
Yeah.
because of this Bala Vidya, what we are teaching to, so they have a lot this kind of questions, and this will help us to understand how to make them.
Yes. This is just I made a certain sequence, a reframing. All this we are learning in our Bhagavad Gita and other texts we are learning. But basically, Bhagavad Gita is a source for all this, what I said. Bhagavad Gita is a source. That for lastly, Upanishad will be a source for moksha, I mean the knowledge, self-knowledge, etc. And ways of mind also, one can definitely take it from Bhagavad Gita. Right? All this Bhagavan has already said, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. How a mind develops an attachment, what's the mechanism behind it, and our attachment is not fulfilled, how the anger arises and what happens later, and this and that. So many ways. So all this majority of the things, for that you Bhagavad Gita is a source. Yeah. And then lastly, for Atmajnanam, even Upanishad also is a source. Yeah.
Thank you.
Even value, moral value structure, etc. also 13th chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was definitely useful to all the teachers who
Yeah.
teach to the Balvia students.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quite beneficial. All the stages. I'll send it to our Marlboro Gita group, Ranjan Ben and her group.
They are teaching.
They are teaching, so this would be beneficial to their group.
All this material is why I did not talk that it is with you, because it's all there in our volumes.
Right, but this will come in handy for them.
So our 9 volumes, our home study,
Right.
you will get all these things,
Right, right.
everything.
But to make it simple for children.
Yeah, and to develop a concentration, a book, 2 talks on japa. Puja Swamiji's book is there, 2 talks on japa, which you can refer and understand it, and you can talk to the children, definitely. That I should tell. Concentration, for concentration purpose, Nama Japa. So that I forgot to tell you, but it is 2 talks on japa. There is a book, very simple, 2 talks. Really, Bhagavan Swamiji took only 2 talks. And how he explained how the mind moves around and how you can bring into a focus. Very reasonably, very logically, Swamiji has explained. And how the Nama Japa can help in that. Yeah. So the question was there, Nama Japa, how our children, we can tell them to do Nama Japa, etc. First, you have to explain that how the mind is roaming around and wasting energy, etc. And a focusing capacity is required, etc., which will be helpful in the study and all over the years also, in the career also it will be useful. All this explanation, and then you said Nama Japa can help, and this is how Nama Japa's mechanism is, how it can bring a focus, etc. That is there in that book, 2 talks on Japa. Rest is Bhagavad Gita, can help.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.